This has been the plague of this year because of the wet winter, wet cold winter. This annual, it's been everywhere this year. I'll show you how to get it I'll show you how to get it out of fescue, or at least control it to where it's manageable and livable. Stay tuned. What's going on today, guys? This is a week later than when I started filming this. If that makes any sense. All right, but anyway, I've been getting a ton of questions about a new growth regulator from my new farm. I did the videos last year where I sprayed Poa annua and Poa trivialis, and then came back in other videos and showed the results, and it works great. As far as growth regulating fescue goes this time of year, putting the new on it is an excellent idea just for the growth regulator properties of it, because it's gonna divert a lot of that energy that fescue waste shooting that grass up in the air, and just make it stay a little more compact and divert that energy into root growth and thickening up of the turf. But also, we have noticed that it has, at the full rate of for fescue of 1 pound per acre, it'll knock back Poa annua pretty bad, and it'll ding up Poa trivialis. In some cases it'll kill it, in some cases it'll just kind of blend it in with the turf. I'm back here a week later, and I'll show you some before and afters on some of the other ones I've done. I haven't had a lot of chance to get a lot of afters. I've been busy, man. But anyway, stay tuned for this masterpiece. Is an excellent choice for a growth regulator for a cool season grass like fescue. It's a little softer on its regulation. If you think of something like to an Axopac, what a growth regulator does is it'll kind of suspend and hold back gibberellic acids, and that's the part in the plant that makes it want to reach for sunlight. And so in a lot of harsher growth regulators, it'll be almost like a hose is kinked, and those gibberellins will be backing up, and then when the regulation wears off, so it can get out of hand on you. Anu's a little softer in that sense. It's a great growth regulator for cool season grass. Got a message there, but not as harsh if you miss your growing degree day window to reapply. It does, you don't get that kaboom growth. It'll just keep it manageable. And I feel like we do a lot of damage to fescue this time of year trying to mow it weekly when it's growing 6, 8 inches, 10 inches a week. So, I mean, you know, this is early spring, mid-spring, whatever, but the weather's just started booming and fescue is going. But I sprayed this last week, and I came to mow it today. I was able to bag it mowing with a walker super fast, and it was very manageable, and I wasn't making a mess out of the turf and stressing it out by cutting so much of it off. And plus, it wasn't using all that energy just to grow straight up. It was thickening up and putting down roots. So that's a bonus. But we dinged up some Poa annua pretty bad, and I see varying effects on Poa trivialis. Last year, some of it I sprayed it on. After about 3 weeks, it looked like it actually killed the plant. It was gone, and it looked like it'd been sprayed with a herbicide. And in some cases on the plants, they just kind of, the color just kind of blended in, and the plant stayed down and didn't, because that trivialis will outgrow fescue in a lot of cases, but once it's been dosed with this anu, it just kind of goes, oh, and lays down. I don't know that it really makes that noise, but anyway. I'll show you this before I mow it so we can really see the Poa annua in it. I've got a few isolated patches, but again, I wouldn't recommend spot spraying the anu. But I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb in there, the flower. When I mow it, it'll cut most of that flower off, and you'll just have kind of a little different colored grass there. But grass is trucking along pretty thick, and I've got some patches of trivialis where you can see a little different color. I'll try to find some of them. As you can see, this stuff's growing like gangbusters too. I'll do this old trick again. I mean, that's just probably 8 inches tall. This is a new, it's a water dispersible granule, and the case is 4 of these pound and a half bags like this, and you can either weigh it out or you get this handy measuring beaker thing, and a pound is 16 ounces. This one is the Subvert MFT. It's a micronutrient with peptides, so we're going to be pushing root growth, pushing color with the micronutrients, and that in conjunction with this new, my thinking is, should really just blend this color in, especially on things like this trivialis, and make it disappear into the lawn what it doesn't damage and shrink away. The lawn looks pretty damn good now, other than the POA issues. All right, so the Anu is going to help me control some of this POA annua, shrink it down under the canopy. You won't see those flowers, you won't see the different color. And in the trivialis, I have seen it damage some of it and pretty much kill it. And in a lot of cases, it just kind of tightens that color up and blends the color in and suppresses that little bit of more wild growth that the trivialis has over the fescue. And one of my favorite things about it is just gonna stop this fescue from growing 5-6 inches a week, divert that energy from pushing all that growth up and down into the root zone to make you have deeper roots to survive the summer. So it's a win-win on this new app. So I'm gonna get it out. I'm gonna mow it first. I have it mowed, and now I'm gonna slap down a pound of Anu and 32 ounces of Subvert MFT per acre, and this place is right about an acre, so well, that's an acre and a half, so as far as the fescue. So there you go. I'll show you some action shots of the Permagreen Triumph making this magic happen. Okay, here's a 1 week outcome on this POA annua. It has beat the fire out of it. You can definitely see that that's struggling and going out. So there you go. Anu, and it'll only get better over the next couple of weeks. It'll take that right on out of there. It'll get it to where you don't see it. It'll compress it. Here's some trivialis showing itself to be pretty unhealthy, and it's unhappy otherwise. This is only after 1 week. We saw mostly at about 3 weeks we were getting the maximum bite on trivialis, and you can go back and look at some of those old videos to see some of that. But here's some more. I mean, it doesn't show up that good on camera, but you can see a lot of yellowing in it, and it's just kind of curling up some, laying down. This is bentgrass. I'm getting the Anu on it too. There's a little POA in it, but mainly I'm doing this because bentgrass freaking loves to be growth regulated. Instead of putting all his energy into going up, it starts going out, and bentgrass spreads nicely. So it just changes the whole complexion of this bentgrass when you spray it. But I got MFT and Anu in here, so we ought to really pump up that color, and the grass will kind of lay down and start spreading out, and it'll look way different. Let me show you. So 1 week later on this bentgrass, I sprayed with the Anu. Hadn't rained on it any, so we hadn't had a chance to get the real color snap I want, but overall it looks pretty good, and it did lay down, and I'll show you a close-up. Well, I say lay down, my terminology might not be correct, but it looks like it's kind of spreading more than it is shooting up. So let's check it out. Here's that bentgrass. Once you start regulating it, it just kind of lays in there and starts spreading. The color's going to get a little better. It's going to get thicker. It's kind of an overlooked grass. I kind of dig it. All right, you can see the patches, but hopefully this will shrink that trivialis down and even out those colors. This poannua right there, we'll see what kind of effect it has on that. But I've got this one, that one, the one on the other side of that one, and the one behind this one. So, and then one down there in the street that I'm going to show you the app on that one. So let's get it done. This one has been so wet, I haven't even gotten the spring fertilizer on it. I think I fertilized it like right at the end of the year, like December or so. But today I put the anew on it and fertilizer and some MFT micronutrients. But the anew, there's not much POA in it, but the anew will help him with the mowing on this, because it's a little difficult to mow because it does get so wet if it rains any. But it'll also even out that color and thicken it up. It'll look good. I'll show you this before I mow it to give you an idea. The POA is really bad this year. It's not awful in this yard, but that's poannua around the tree there. See a little white flower on it. But anyway, the grass is growing a whole bunch between visits in 1 week. So this anew should really, there's one right there, should really balance this out. Poannua around the tree in this yard that I showed last week. I don't know how well it shows up on video, but it is tortured. I sprayed some in the Steve Willey Memorial Garden, which is zoysia, with Celsius and Certainty last week, and it's not as dinged up as this stuff. This stuff is tortured. It's done. But I did make one mistake. Probably see it out there. It's bronzed a little bit. All right, when I made these applications last week, the anew, I combined methylated seed oil and the Subvert MFT, and it hasn't rained on them any until right now, as a matter of fact. But I got a little hot on some of them. I got a little overzealous. It's knocking this POA out, like the poannua especially, like you wouldn't believe. But I've bronzed the tips on some of the grass, but I'm not terribly worried about it. I mean, it's going to be a slow process to mow it off of the tips because it's going to be slowed down growing. But probably don't go that hot. That would be my suggestion. I think anew recommends a like a non-ionic surfactant, but I was thinking the methylated seed oil organosilicone blend would really penetrate and get even coverage, and it's whacking the hell out of the poannua. But I've noticed a reoccurring theme that I've bronzed the tips on a lot of this grass, and that might just have to do with putting the MFT also in it and it not raining on it. I probably would have been fine if it rained on it. Anyway, but keep in mind, we didn't see this last year when we put this anew down. Judging by the clippings we were taking off the yards, I didn't see the strongest regulation until 3 and 4 weeks after application. And by that time, after the first application, a lot of the poannua was donezo, and the Poa trivialis was at different states. But two applications had it, I mean, had everything looking tip top, but and plus the benefits from the growth regulation on the fescue. Well, you can go back and watch some of the old videos to see week by week results on it, but I definitely recommend getting this anew growth regulator on your fescue this time of year. Usually 2 apps will about do it for me. You can use your something like a greenskeeper app or something to track your growing degree days on it to see how long it's being effective. And again, you don't pay as much of a penalty with anew when it wears off as you would something like Tenaxapac. And you know, you wouldn't use that on fescue anyway. I mean, you could, but but anyhow, and anew really seems to help color a lot. Again, running about 1 pound an acre for that's the maximum rate for fescue, and it really dings up the both species of POA at that rate. You'll be impressed with the results. I've seen varying degrees. Some just amazing kill on it and some control that would make you happy. But it's definitely worth it, if nothing else, for the growth regulator aspect on it, especially a yard that you mow this time of year. So just put that one up in the old noggin, in the toolbox, a new growth regulator for fescue. Thanks for watching.